Hey everyone, it's F. Gardner. My book, Kabbalah of the Crocodile, my horror novel that famously predicted the synagogue tunnel news events, has predicted the future yet again. Yeah, because in my book, the synagogue is attacked. The protagonist attacks it because of the evil Talmudic rabbis in there that are involved in child kidnapping and child sacrifice. And he attacks the tunnel, he attacks the synagogue where they have the tunnel. And this in real life now, it looks like there's been an attack on the same synagogue that had the tunnels. Yeah, so my book has predicted the future yet again in that regard. And in the book, after that happens, the news is calling it an attack, and a hateful attack, and saying it's an anti-Semitic attack. They try to brush the real story, the true story about the Talmudic synagogue tunnels and everything, and what the rabbis were doing under the rug. They cover it up and label the protagonist an anti-Semite. And now on the news, this attack now in real life, you have all the news anchors and everything saying it was an awful attack. They're talking about anti-Semitism. They want to push for anti-Semitism laws. Yeah, so this is the type of stuff that my book and a lot of other books I've written sort of talk about these controversial conspiracy theories. Yeah, so it's like the plot. It happened in my book and now in real life. And many other events have happened from my books in real life. Like one of my oldest books from 5 years ago, called The Cherokee, predicted the Chicago Pope, that the first American Pope after Pope Francis would be from Chicago. That happened in real life. My book, Kabbalah of the Crocodile, predicted the synagogue tunnels, right down to this attack and how it's playing out. Yeah, and they cover up the truth on the mainstream news and everything. And so that's why I went on all sorts of podcasts trying to expose the truth about this stuff, the synagogue tunnels. And this book too, I even appear as a character in my own horror novel, and I'm telling the protagonist that this stuff's gonna happen in real life. And the reason I'm writing about it is to expose the truth. And F. Gardner wants to expose the truth of these conspiracy theories about the Jews and everything, that they're true, and so that they'll happen in real life, so that they can be exposed. Yeah, so check this book out. This book is famously censored on the internet. If I make posts about it on X and other social media websites, they try to censor my books. They try to censor F. Gardner. Reddit even released a statement saying that on their books subreddit that nobody's allowed to talk about F. Gardner's book. So I'm I think the only author that has ever happened to. Yeah, and by the way, my latest book, Dark Zion. This is my most recent book from a couple months ago. And this book also deals with conspiracy theories about the Jews. When I released this book, I thought, well, this book was so popular, Kabbalah of the Crocodile, this horror novel, and this deals with synagogue tunnels and the Talmudic type stuff. And I thought, well, if I'm going to do another book, similar territory, I don't want it to be the same thing. So I thought, well, I'm going to write a book about Zionism, Netanyahu. He's the villain in this book. He's taken control over a tower, the Sears Tower in Chicago, and he's renamed it Zion Tower. And the protagonist, he's fully red-pilled about the Jews and everything, and he infiltrates the tower, and he wants to stop Netanyahu. Yeah, so I wanted to make sure that this one really stood out as different. That if I tackled the mystical, Talmudic, secretive religious stuff, and the synagogue tunnels that they do, those conspiracy theories about the Jews with this book, I thought, okay, with this one, I'll tackle Zionism, because that's just as controversial. And when I say Zionism, it's just Judaism. They're the same thing. A lot of people don't like to say that, but the protagonist in this book, he even says that. He even says, like, oh, I know the truth that Zionism and Judaism, they're actually the same thing. That Zionism, that's like kind of like a more kosher kind of term, even though the Jews will kvetch when you use that term. They don't like that. They say that's anti-Semitic. The truth that people don't like to admit is that it's the same thing. Judaism and Zionism, it's all about Jews trying to conquer the earth and enslave, Gentiles and Arabs too. They don't like Arabs either. It's just Jewish supremacism. And all these groups that call for anti-Semitism laws and stuff like that, that's because they want to elevate themselves above Gentiles and everybody else and become this like ruling class that rules over Gentiles and Arabs too. And for their goals of Zionism, world domination and everything. Check both these books out. This is the book with the synagogue tunnels and the rabbis. They're trying to summon the Moshiach, their dark god that they believe in and everything. They're trying to summon him to conquer the earth, to destroy the Gentiles, and there's child kidnapping, child sacrifice, the really sinister, dark stuff that the Jews are into. And this book has repeatedly predicted the future. And this happened, so just last night, is popping up on the news feeds and everything, and F. Gardner thought, I gotta do a video about this so more people know the truth. That's all for now. I'll leave the links, I guess, down below for both these books. Check them out. Peace out, everybody. Bye.